and welcome to my first video. And for the first video I just decided to talk about one of my favorite Filofax products. I am a fan of the Clipbook. I had several, I sold several already, and these are the four that I currently use. They are my preferred colors. The petrol blue, this one right here, was the first one that I purchased. It's an amazing color. It was at a time when it was reported that they had that terrible chemical smell, and this one did, yes, but in about a week's time it sort of just all went away. And it's still one of my favorite blue colors that Filofax has ever managed to release. They are lacking in blue colors in my opinion, so hopefully they can manage to release more blue shades for other models as well. Right, so the Clipbook. Let's start the review. Basically they have two styles, so to speak. They released the Clipbook about 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe about 4. Was it 2014, I think? Yeah, that might have been the first year that it was put on sale. And this one was the first one I bought. This is the Clipbook Classic, and the white one is also part of that, is also part of the Classic, along with the black. So as far as I remember, it was only released in this petrol blue, white, and the black. So that's the Clipbook Classic. Later, was it last year, in 2017, they added the navy blue to the same Classic collection. And it's, was it in 2017 that they released the pastels, Clipbook pastels? And they released a few colors. There's a pink or rose. There's this one, which is soft blue or vista blue. Very nice color. So yeah, these are the two that they released for Clipbooks. Just recently, I think they released the Saffiano Silver. It was just this week or last week, so that would be the third model or a line. Not quite sure what the word would be. They're all still Clipbooks. So there is a difference, I have to say, between the Classic and the pastels. I do think, because these were released in the first year, these were released last year, and this was last year. But between the Classics and the pastels, there is a difference, in my opinion, between the quality of the covers. I still think that the Classics, the original Clipbooks, so to speak, are thicker, just a bit of a better quality. The feel, it just feels better on touch. It feels a bit sturdier, whereas the latest releases, they are thinner, just a tad flimsier. Maybe there's a difference of 0.5 millimeter in the thickness of this. Maybe it's all in my head. Hey, who knows? But the difference between this and that is noticeable when you compare it with the newest releases. Okay, so the colors are showing pretty true to life. I have to say, the camera is picking them up very, very well. So let's go to the review itself. First of all, as we said, the Classics were released back in about 2014. The pastels, I think the first year was last year, 2017. It's described on the website as leather look, I think. So this is just PU. It feels very soft. It's flimsy, as you can see. It feels great. The finish, the texture is quite soft. It feels great quality, honestly. It's very pleasant to touch, sort of PU. It doesn't feel plasticky at all. the smell, let's see, actually, that there's just no smell there at all. This was the first year that they were released, that it was reported that the smell was there, that chemical smell. And yes, I did have that with this one, which after about a week disappeared. But with any of these ones that I bought, and in the meantime, I also bought about a couple of years ago the pear and the fuchsia, was it? And none of them came with any other smell. I think it was just the original that they released, probably the petrol blue and the blacks. And it just, I guess it depends on the factory or the dye that they used, and maybe they just changed the, who knows, their suppliers or the dye, the chemicals that they use in the dye, who knows. So that smell is all gone. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that will still mention that smell from, if you watch them, from about 2014, 2015, but nothing after that, so it's just not there. Scratching, honestly, they wear so well, they don't really scratch. I've worn this one, this is still my favorite one, this is my oldest one, I've worn it in my handbag so many times. It's just, the quality is there, even though it is PU. It wears so well. I've always been impressed with the clipbooks. What else is there to say? It's quite lightweight. I love the compact. I mean, I wish Filofax would produce slim lines and compacts in A5s. I mean, there's only the Boston or the Lux or the recent Heritage. There's nothing else out there, really. So the clipbooks, yes, it's not leather. Yes, it's a notebook. It's not technically a Filofax with a strap, but this is, it's just the alternative that is out there, and I love using them. They're quite light, compact. I like their design, they're beautiful. It still looks classic, but also they look great for any age bracket, really. A student in a classroom, university, any course that you're taking, any project that you want to start developing, thinking about, and then later, if they get filled up, you move on to a Filofax with bigger rings. These Filofaxes are just great starting point for your just development process, thinking process, for whatever project you're working on. And yes, I do see them, like, for any students out there, these are great for a module, for a course, for dissertations, whatever it is. I would have just loved, if I was aware about Filofaxes back in my university days, I would have had a clipbook for each module, that I guarantee. They're just quite beautiful, and they work very well. I do associate this kind of style with just studying. I wouldn't take an original to a class, for example, or let's say a Holborn. I think these kind of notebooks, they just lend themselves quite well to that kind of an environment. They do open flat. Okay, let's just open one. Let's do the navy. It's been sitting there in the background. There you go. Right to buy. That's, who knows, one day. They open flat. As you can see, it would be very comfortable to write on this side. If you need to write on the other side, as you can see, this just moves around, and you can just, it lies perfectly flat right here, and you can write on that side if rings don't bother you. If they do, again, just like with any other Filofax, you can take the page out. The peculiarity of the clipbook, though, is that there's no handles here on the top and at the bottom, so the way that they tell you to open this is by pushing by the covers on the sides, and you just push out. Yes, it is strange, but that's what they tell you to do, so that you don't damage the rings. So yes, it does lay flat. If you need to write on that side, if you need to write on this side, this very flexible, moves around. There you go, it's flat. Okay. If you need to write on your knees, it does that. There you go. You can still keep that in your hand and just write down. It would work perfectly. And the rings, yes, they do open, but that should not matter that much. Okay, focus. It really just, honestly, it never bothered me. I never had to fold this on itself, but if you need to write one page, who knows, public transport in a meeting, there's no desk, that's fine. So the rings are just all back to normal. Okay. What else? What else? Stuffability. Let's talk about another one just so that you can see the colors better. Stuffability. Basically, I'd keep them as light as possible, not stuff them too much. Just like with any other rings, it's just better not to stress the rings, not to cause any damage. And if you keep it just lying, let's see if it focuses. That's where the rings meet, right there. So basically there's about ½ centimeter there, and once you reach that point where the rings basically meet, you shouldn't stuff beyond that point, that you know that you've stuffed it too much. So anywhere between where the current pages are and that opening right there where the rings meet, you can still stuff it very comfortably. Would be a good chunk of papers, probably about yay much. It would still be about 20 pages or more than that, so that should work quite well. So it's a lot of papers that you could take. Again, feels great. It's thin, but the quality is there. It's sort of floppy but sturdy at the same time. Quite difficult to explain, really. That's what I like about them. They're sort of middle, just sort of the golden middle, really. There's no extremes with the clipbooks, and I like that. What do I use them for? Why do I like them so much? Different projects, really. This one in particular, the white one, I absolutely love, and I do have, there's a podcast that I want to document about minimalism and just anything that has to do with just simplifying your life, just maybe some meditation or capsule wardrobes. Just this is just such a beauty. It just brings me peace when I look at it. I love this white color, and it just screams zen and peace and minimalism to me. So that's what I'm going to be using that for. Especially, I'm just going to start with that particular podcast. This one I'm already using. It's for either business or buying. So sorry, the camera just cut off. As I was saying, this one I'm currently using, it's the most stuffed one, as you can see. I'm using it for basically an investment. It was going to be either my business or buying my first house. It's got tabs there that I don't particularly want to show, so this one's the most used at the moment. This one will be for one of those businesses as well. It will just be the second one. I'm just sort of gathering any papers or any useful information for that particular project. So they're all going to be gathered here, and when I'm ready to start really concentrating and developing the idea, all the original sort of collection of ideas would be there that I could start working from. This one is not currently being used. It's my latest purchase in terms of clipbooks, so I haven't found a use for it yet. I love the color. I had to get it. It was on the Boxing Day sale and the price was quite good, so I got that from Filofax. Right, so yeah, that concludes my review. Hopefully it was useful. Again, it's one of my favorite models from Filofax. I've loved them from the first time I saw the petrol blue on the website 3-4 years ago, whenever that was. It was the second Filofax that I ever bought. It was this one. My first one was a red metropole in A5. So the connection with this one is there. I'm never going to get rid of this one. I love the color. I wish Filofax did more blue colors in this shade. It's just amazing. It's a great color. What else? I think I forgot to mention that the packaging that Filofax comes in, you can use it as what do you call them, fly leaves. So basically the packaging comes across the Filofax and it comes pre-punched, and you can just tear that where it's pre-punched and use them as fly leaves. So don't throw that away, that's useful. That's it. I'm not quite sure what else to mention. I hope you like this, it was useful for you, so see you in my next video.